This Joe Biden that seems finally ready to fight is he's realizing in 5 months we might be announcing President-elect Donald Trump.
The Trump administration rolled back Obama-era guidance on school discipline aimed at protecting black students from being punished more severely than white students.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if Trump was ultimately exposed for his racist antics? Now you can stop wondering. Whoopi and Biden just delivered an enormous truth bomb that has Trump frantically reaching for his bottle of spray tan. Shall we dig into this magnificent takedown? In the spirit of reality checks, let's go back in time to some of Trump's most famous instances of racial controversy. It's akin to a greatest hits album, but instead of tunes that land on the charts, we've got jaw-droppers that leave you wondering how the hell this person got to the White House. Recall the case of the Central Park Five. Trump certainly does, and I'm sure he wishes we could all move on from it. He had advocated for the death penalty for 5 black and Latino adolescents who had allegedly assaulted a jogger back in 1989. As it happens, they were blameless. Did Trump, however, issue an apology? No, he backed down like a small child who insists that the sky is green. Who could overlook the birther conspiracy either? Trump was clinging to the belief that Obama wasn't born in the United States like a dog with a bone. It seems as though he was unable to imagine a black guy serving as president without a catch. Warning, although Trump's racist dog whistle had already caused damage, Obama was born in Hawaii. But there's still more. Regarding housing discrimination,
What do you think would happen if black Americans had stormed the Capitol? I don't think he'd be talking about pardons. It's the same guy who wanted to tear gas you.
But President Biden and Vice President Harris were in Philly yesterday with a message for black America.
Trump's family firm has a longer history of violations than his tie collection. The Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the Trump company for turning away black people from renting properties in the 1970s. All right, so much for preserving the incorrect kind of family customs. Let us now discuss The Apprentice. Remember that episode where Trump played the part of a prosperous businessman? It appears that he may have been acting in a racist manner as well. There are reports that Trump made some really offensive racial remarks while on set. There are records out there that would make your ears bleed, according to former producer Bill Pruitt. Naturally, Trump disputes it, yet he also disputes the existence of climate change. Speaking of The Apprentice, Whoopi Goldberg revealed shocking information regarding how Trump handled Randall Pinkett, the only black winner of the program. Whoopi claims that Trump referred to Pinkett as lazy, but dubbed his white female opponent beautiful. It doesn't matter if Pinkett raised $11,000 compared to the beautiful contestant's 0 donations. I suppose it's simply too difficult to be black and successful in Trump's world. It appears as though Trump has been playing racial bingo all of his life, and he's miraculously completed the full card. This guy has more racist skeletons in his closet than a Halloween store in October, from birtherism to housing discrimination, from the Central Park Five to The Apprentice. With a record like this, one has to ask themselves how Trump ever persuaded anyone that he was qualified to govern a diverse country. It's similar to employing a fox to watch over the hen house, only this fox is orange and always tweets about how amazing he is at watching over hen houses. While Biden has been launching political haymakers, Whoopi Goldberg has been striking with a different kind of knockout punch. Not only is she hitting Trump where it hurts, but she's also making us giggle. It's like seeing a comedic roast where the focus is a former president with a terrible spray tan and much worse policies rather than a famous person.
And today, Donald Trump is pandering and peddling lies and stereotypes for your vote so he can win for himself, not for you.
One of the people who was on The Apprentice, he was producer, he is saying that there are tapes of you-know-who using that racial slur.
Whoopi has this amazing ability of delivering harsh reality with a dash of humor. Not only is she criticizing Trump, but she's also making fun of him. And let's face it, people, especially when it comes to politics these days, sometimes you have to laugh to cry. She is taking aim at Trump's assertions regarding his accomplishments for African Americans. I think he injected too much of that bleach, joked Whoopi. His brain was impacted, I believe. That's what I refer to as a nasty burn. And I'm not only talking about burns from improper use of cleaning supplies. Whoopi, though, isn't merely making casual remarks. She is reading the receipts aloud for everyone to hear since she has them. She brought up Trump's past bigotry in the real estate industry, stating, "His history is the family's history because they own buildings in New York City, and he refused to sell or rent any of his apartments to non-white people." That's a thorough investigation of Trump's racist past, not just a dig. Not to be overlooked are the Central Park Five. Whoopi pointed out to us all that Trump still hasn't apologized apologized for calling for the Central Park Five to be executed, even after they were found not guilty. These children were naive. His intention was to murder them. It seems as though Trump possesses a doctorate in error, yet he is incapable of even offering a simple, "I'm sorry." Whoopi also has no problem going straight after the target. She called attention to Trump's alleged birther plot against Obama, adding, "He claimed that Obama was not a native of this nation. That is solely motivated by racism." It's as if Trump believed he was the only one who could see the "No Blacks Allowed" sign posted in the White House. The problem with Whoopi's strategy, though, is that it works in addition to being humorous. She's making her criticisms more palatable for the average Joe by enveloping them in humor. Like veggies hidden in a kid's mac and cheese, you receive the good stuff without having to work too hard for it. Sincerely, sometimes you need a spoonful of sweetness to make the medicine go down in the political environment of today.
Pinkett had raised $11,000 and the female counterpart had raised $0.
No money.
But she was much younger and much less experienced. Pinkett.
He says he's the greatest president for black people in the history of America, including more than Abraham Lincoln.
Whoopi is hitting home for many people who might otherwise choose to ignore her when she delivers the harsh realities of Trump's racism together with a healthy dose of humor. But it goes beyond simply making people laugh. Whoopi's sense of humor can infiltrate people's defenses like a Trojan horse. Before you know it, you're thinking critically about Trump's actions and ideas rather than just laughing at a joke about his spray tan. Thus, even though Biden appears to be delivering clean blows, Whoopi is actually using her humor to play 4D chess. She's not simply criticizing Trump, she's dehumanizing him. Furthermore, in the political sphere, seeming stupid might occasionally be worse than appearing malevolent. It appears like Sleepy Joe has finally woken up, and he is not holding back. With his decision to exchange his aviators for some brass knuckles, our commander-in-chief is directly targeting the bigoted underbelly of Trump. You know, Biden's recall of pointing out Trump's lies looks rather good, especially considering that he's supposed to be losing his mind. He knows Trump's phone number and isn't hesitant to call and leave a nasty message. Do you recall the Capitol storming led by Trump's MAGA mob? Biden certainly does, and he has a grievance about the way the entire situation transpired. What if those rioters had been black? Is the question he poses one that we've all been wondering. At that point, would Trump be discussing pardons? Biden wasn't holding back. Think about what would have happened if African Americans had attacked the Capitol, he said. I doubt that President Trump would be discussing pardons. That same individual threatened to use tear gas on you while you were peacefully demonstrating over George Floyd's death. Hurt. That must hurt. It seems like Biden has started throwing haymakers after taking a cue from Trump's playbook. But instead of slinging wild conspiracy ideas, he's delivering hard, factual information.
Pinkett, that's still the winner, said he described me as lazy and he described her as beautiful.
And she was a white
I
woman?
think he injected too much of that bleach in his brain. I think it affected his brain.
Furthermore, Biden is not merely criticizing Trump's hypocrisy. He is criticizing Trump for his pathetic attempts to win over African Americans. You know, since nothing says, "I care about black people," like saying you've accomplished more for them than the person who really set slaves free, Biden does not accept it. He claims he's the greatest president of black people in the history of America, including more than Abraham Lincoln, he said, criticizing Trump. I believe he put in too much bleach. I believe that had an impact on his brain, because as a result, Donald Trump is now appealing to you and spreading false information to get your support rather than yours. Joe, dratted, who knew you were capable of it? It is similar to witnessing your grandfather spit fire at the Thanksgiving dinner table. People, pass the popcorn. Things are improving. Biden isn't simply making light, though. He is attempting to portray himself as the genuine defender of racial fairness. He seems to be saying, look, I might be white and old, but at least I'm not racist and orange. In a joint appearance with Vice President Harris in Philadelphia, Biden emphasized how black Americans had been hurt by Trump's policies and statements. He seems to be saying something along the lines of, I'm not just the least of two evils. Actually, I'm here to assist. Let's be honest now.
The conversation is really about whether black Americans think that he will do something for them. And history shows that he will harm, I believe he will harm
President
black
Trump.
Americans.
Donald Trump will have a message for you. Not in our house and not in our watch.
In terms of race, Biden has his own problems. However, in contrast to Trump, a trash fire or a little undercooked chicken, that's how it feels. The chicken won't burn your house down and give you food illness, at least. Biden knows he needs to do better when it comes to winning over black voters, particularly black men. There appears to be a decline in support, as indicated by the polls, and you can bet that the Biden team is nervous. However, in spite of all the criticism leveled at Biden's rhetoric, he has really accomplished a number of noteworthy economic firsts that help help Black Americans. This is the lowest rate of unemployment in 50 years. Joe, it's not too bad. The women of The View have been dishing out their own hot take on Trump's bigoted antics, while Biden has been hurling political haymakers. Everyone has brought their finest knives to slice up the orange bird, making it akin to a political picnic. Never one to back down, Joy Behar went right after Trump. She discovered some skeletons in his closet that are so old that they resemble fossils. Do you recall the Central Park Five? Joy is making sure that Trump doesn't forget it either. She made the observation saying, even after the Central Park Five were found not guilty, he continued to urge for their execution. These children were naive. His intention was to murder them. Hurt. That's a third-degree political searing, not simply a burn. Still, Joy wasn't done making fun of Trump.
Trump's tax law disproportionately hurt Black Americans. Trump's DOJ gave federal prosecutors wider latitude to pursue criminal drug charges and harsher sentences against African Americans. Trump described African Americans and Hispanics as communities wholly impoverished and crime-ridden.
Reminding us all of the Trump family's less than spectacular past with non-white tenants, she took out the family photo album. His history is the family's history because they own buildings in New York City, and he refused to rent or sell any of his apartments to non-white people. Discuss a custom in your family that you would prefer not to continue. Not to mention, the birther movement is Trump's go-to conspiracy theory. Joy's statement, the original thing, he said that Obama was not born in this country, struck the mark. That is solely motivated by racism. It appears that Trump believed holding the office of president and being Black were incompatible. Who knew that demonstrating your citizenship was a prerequisite for becoming president of the United States? But Sunny Hostin arrived prepared with information more cutting than Donald Trump's golf spikes. She explained how Black Americans were impacted harder by Trump's policies than by a punch from Mike Tyson. Black Americans are disproportionately harmed by Trump's tax bill.
Because they own buildings in New York City, and he refused to rent or sell any of his apartments to non-white people.
I haven't heard this level of really calling him out. We had the First Lady on saying it's a battle between good and evil. This feels like an escalating of the rhetoric.
The DOJ under Trump expanded the authority available to federal prosecutors to charge Black Americans with crimes involving drugs and to grant them amnesties. Additionally, the DOJ reversed Obama-era recommendations about school punishment that were designed to prevent Black children from receiving harsher penalties than white Americans. It was as if Trump was playing whack-a-mole with policy, only with Black Americans as the moles. Sunny also drew attention to Trump's portrayal of Latino and African American communities as completely destitute and crime-ridden, because nothing says I'm not racist like smearing the biggest, darkest brush possible across entire cultures. However, The View wasn't only about criticizing Trump. The token conservative Alyssa Farah Griffin offered some insightful observations about why Biden has suddenly regained his fighting spirit. She stated, "We may be announcing Donald Trump as president-elect in 5 months, which is why we're seeing this Joe Biden who seems finally ready to fight. That is being ingrained in the campaign. It appears that Biden is more alarmed by the potential for a Trump resurgence than he is by the idea of steps without a railing."
He said that Obama was not born in this country. That is strictly based on racism.
Yeah.
And it's a lie.
Which is, they are seeing a drop in Black voters for Biden,
Male
Black voters.
Yes.
And so they're getting out there and doing the work.
What will happen in this political circus next? Whoopi is hurling barbs, Biden is regaining his composure, and Trump is just being Trump. It's similar to a reality program, only real life is at risk. What matters most is whether any of this will stay. Or are we only witnessing a group of grown-ups engage in a game of he said, she said as Rome burns? The crux of the matter is that Biden and Whoopi hit Trump squarely in the ego and record. They're providing a plethora of proof, not just labeling Trump as racist. It seems as though they are stating, "This is your racism, mister. Would you like a side order of voter suppression?"